Hi there and welcome to Fuzzy on the Details. My name is Fuzzy and today we're going to be reviewing the latest Marvel Multiverse role-playing game developer update, which focuses on four main topics: a sneak peek of the Avengers Expansion, some Gen Con info, a brief update on the free Quick Start Rules and Thunderbolts adventure, and the announcement of a brand new Fantastic Four adventure that'll be on sale July 28th. There's lots to cover, so let's get into the details. We're going to start with the Avengers Expansion news. As Marvel typically does before the release of a book, they've shared the full table of contents with us. And we can see that they have not messed with the formula that has worked for them in the past with the X-Men and Spider-Verse hardcovers. Like those books, the Avengers Expansion will start with team-oriented content, representing about 40% of the book. Then they're going to spend about 20% on rules, and finally 40% on character profiles. There's a trend over the last three books that I quite like: an increasing amount of page count spent on rules. The X-Men book had 43 pages on rules, Spider-Verse had 51, and the Avengers has 63. Now, as I mentioned in my Spider-Verse expansion review, part of the reason the rules chapters are increasing in size is because Marvel is reprinting some of the rules that have appeared in previous books. Personally, I find this to be a pretty consumer-friendly approach because it would stink if this book had a character profile that you couldn't fully take advantage of because one or more of their powers was in the Spider-Verse book and you didn't own it. We also have 12 maps in this book, courtesy of cartographer extraordinaire Brian Patterson. That's twice as many as we got in Spider-Verse. X-Men had 11, so this is the most maps we've ever gotten in a hardcover. If we look at the authors for each chapter, we'll see a couple of new names. Alex Irvine wrote chapters 4 and 5. Alex has worked for Marvel not only as a comic book author, but also as one of the main writers behind Marvel Rivals. And he's got a ton of non-Marvel projects he's worked on as well. I put a link in the description for more info about Alex. And you'll also notice Pat Forbeck is working on the character profiles with Marty, so this book has got 50% more Forbeck. Matt, of course, takes point on the rules chapters, and he and Marty fill out the remaining chapters in the book. Well, we knew that they were going to be revamping the iconic weapon system in the game, and this dev update gives us some more information on that, as well as a couple of examples. First off, iconic items is the new umbrella term, which includes weapons, battlesuits, and utility gear. And it looks like there's much more structure to iconic items now, including the introduction of restrictions and a power value, which could be a balancing factor. So theoretically, higher ranked characters with access to more powers could have more powerful iconic weapons. Pretty cool. Looking at these examples really shows how this is going to work in practice. I am definitely going to be doing a full video on iconic items when the book is out, but a couple of things that pop out to me right off the bat as being really cool are how Cap's shield requires that the user already has Shield 1 for them to take advantage of it, and that the Iron Man armor lays out exactly how much Tony's abilities will increase when he dons the armor. I love that. Next up is a sneak peek on Headquarters, which introduces the idea of your HQ having traits and tags, just like your character would. And just like with regular traits, they usually have a mechanical benefit, while tags have more of role-playing flavor. Your characters can participate in downtime activities while resting in their HQ to take advantage of these bonuses. And it looks like some of these can be pretty serious bonuses. Getting up to 6 edges on agility checks is no joke. And here's an example of an HQ profile, the Champion's Mobile Bunker. I will definitely be doing a Headquarters video as well, and we're going to dig into what all of these traits can do. But I really love the idea of using Headquarters in my games, so much that I made my own subsystem for it, so I'm going to be using the heck out of these rules when the book comes out. The next little teaser is about the Alternate Forms tag, which is now split up to highlight the different types of alternate forms that are already in the game. Given what we already saw about Iron Man's armor, I'm very hopeful that these will get tied to some sort of mechanical rule as well. Next up, Avengers Academy. First off, free bonus chapters are awesome. And while I might have been hoping for a Great Lakes Avengers bonus chapter, Avengers Academy was my second wish, so this is awesome. Plus, another map from Brian Patterson. So this is great any way you look at it. Especially for new players who maybe don't know what's going to be in the book, they can download this free chapter and get a sense for what the full book is going to be like. So that's it for the Avengers Expansion news. Let's talk a little bit about Gen Con now. And holy crap, if you're going to Gen Con, you're going to get one hell of a deal if you pick up the Avengers Expansion hardcover there. Sure, you're going to get a pin and that's nice, but the digital content plus the Marvel Unlimited subscription is like over $130 worth of free stuff. That's an amazing deal. Also at Gen Con, it sounds like there's going to be an announcement of what the next hardcover is. Now, I don't have any information on that, but it's got to be the Fantastic Four, right? Given the timing, the movie coming out. If you have any other guesses of what it might be, let me know in the comments, but yeah, my bet's on Fantastic Four. Next up, we've got some news on the Quick Start Guide and the Thunderbolts Adventure, and that's pretty straightforward. Both are available right now on marvel.com/RPG. So if you weren't able to pick up the Thunderbolts Adventure as part of the free RPG Day giveaway, you can now. It's a great adventure. Check it out. And last but definitely not least, in less than 2 weeks, we will be able to pick up a brand new Fantastic Four adventure called From the Depths. It'll be digitally only and available on Monday, July the 28th. Now, Marvel was kind enough to answer a bunch of questions I had about this adventure, so here is some additional information that was not in the developer update. 1. The adventure will initially be available on Drive-Thru RPG, but it will be on Demiplane and Roll20 at a later date. When I hear something more specific about those dates, I will let you all know. 2. The cover artists for this adventure are Matteo Loli and Jesus Orbitov. I've put a couple of links to their work in the description. Awesome looking cover, guys. Thank you. And this is super exciting. The authors for the adventure are none other than Amir Osman and Brian Overton, the assistant producer and the editor of MMRPG, respectively. These guys have been around since day one. Their names are at the beginning of every book you've ever picked up for MMRPG, so I am extremely excited to see what these guys can do. Now, there aren't hard rank recommendations for this adventure, but from a plot perspective, the intention is that you will be playing as the Fantastic Four. Now, that includes a rank 2 Herbie and a rank 5 Thing, alongside of the other rank 4 members of the team. Luckily, in the Avengers Expansion, in the Rules chapter, we have a section on how to play with teams of mixed rank, so it probably makes sense to give that part of the Rules chapter a read before you run or play in this adventure. And 5, the last bit of news that I can share is that there will be 3 new character profiles in the book, plus 1 new henchman profile. And all of them will have their powers written out for ease of reference, just like it was done in the Thunderbolts adventure. And the same will go for the Fantastic Four profiles as well. So, if you pick this book up as a PDF, you can print out the character sheets for your players and just hand them out so they do not need to reference the core rulebook to understand what their powers do. As somebody who would create these sheets and print them up himself, this is so much easier, especially if you're a narrator playing this game at a convention or at a local gaming shop. And the last thing to talk about, and just to be clear, this is not anything I discussed with Marvel, but the last thing to talk about is the fact that this is a digital-only product. Now, this is only speculation on my part, but there's a couple of reasons you might want to do this. 1, it's to help mitigate the risks in a world where printing costs are unstable and uncertain because of tariffs, so I'm all for that. Or 2, maybe the idea was that they could get a new product into our hands faster if it was digital only. And I'm okay with that, because typically there's a 3-month lead time between a book being done and the time it can hit the shelves. And that's with no supply chain or importing issues. Now, I would never want this for hardcovers, but for adventures where I'm likely to be printing out character sheets or maps for myself anyway, digital is kind of ideal. And if this means we get more adventures every year, then I'm definitely for this. And finally, digital only means that they can cram more stuff into a book without worrying about increasing page count and therefore increasing their cost. So this could mean including the power rules as a helpful quality of life addition to the book. It could mean more art. It could mean bigger maps. It could mean a lot of really good stuff that you don't have to constrain yourself to squeeze it all into, say, a 16-page book. Eager to see how this plays out for the rest of the year and into 2026. All right, everyone, that is all I've got for you today. Big thank you again to Marvel for giving me all that extra information. And as always, I'm so appreciative of your support and I hope you guys all have a fantastic day.